You've seen muscle cars that are fast, expensive, and iconic, but what about the ones so rare? Even the automakers pretend they never existed. They don't appear on t-shirts, they're not Hot Wheels collectibles, and yet, for hardcore collectors, these are the real treasures. We're talking production numbers in the hundreds, sometimes just dozens, rarer than a Bugatti, stranger than a Ferrari. In this video, we're diving into 10 ultra-rare classic muscle cars, each produced in quantities under 1,000 units. Some were born for drag strips, others vanished before the public even noticed they existed. But one thing's for sure, they'll leave you stunned. So here's the question. If you could bring back just one car from this list, which would you choose? Leave a comment below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you love forgotten, unusual, and collectible muscle machines like these. 1969. Ford Torino Talladega. A true muscle car produced by Ford for only a few short weeks at the start of 1969, the Torino Talladega was named after the legendary Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama. At that moment, Ford was going all in on NASCAR. And to make it work, they needed a car that was street legal, but aerodynamic enough to beat Dodge on the oval. The result was the Ford Torino Talladega, a homologation special with only 754 units built, just enough to qualify for competition. But the Talladega wasn't just another Torino. Its front end was stretched and reshaped into a slick aerodynamic nose. The body was refined to reduce drag, and the front bumper, replaced entirely with a custom, welded-in metal section, something never seen on any Ford production model before or since. Under the hood sat a 428 cubic inch Cobra jet ram Air V8. And to handle the massive torque this beast produced, Ford equipped the car with a Boss Mustang-style rear suspension featuring staggered shocks, a heavy-duty 9-inch nodular iron differential with 3.25-to-1 gearing and 31 spline axles, upgraded springs, a larger sway bar, and a rugged C6 3-speed automatic transmission. Most impressively, this was the only automatic-equipped Ford at the time available with the drag pack oil cooler option, clearly built for serious racing. Today, the Torino Talladega isn't just a rare collectible, it's a rolling reminder of the aero wars between Ford and Mopar. A short-lived era where automakers weren't just building cars, they were building weapons for the track. 1971, Chevrolet Corvette ZR2. When a Chevy earns the nickname Zora's Racer, you know it's something far beyond your average Corvette. This was one of the purest high-performance machines GM ever built, and also one of the rarest, the 1971 Chevrolet Corvette ZR2, with only 12 units ever made. The ZR2 was named after Zora Arkus Duntov, the legendary chief engineer who shaped the performance DNA of Corvette. Fittingly, the car was powered by the LS 6454 cubic inch big block V8, officially rated at 425 horsepower, but in reality, experts believe it made even more. Unlike standard Corvettes, the ZR2 eliminated all comfort features. No AC, no radio, everything stripped down to reduce weight and maximize performance. It came equipped with upgraded cooling, stiffer suspension, and a heavy-duty rear differential, fully track-ready. The ZR2 is considered the final evolution of the hardcore Corvette before the era of emissions regulations and fuel crises began. Only 12 cars were ever built, and today, each one is a million-dollar unicorn in the collector world. 1970 Buick GSX Stage 1. If you think Buick only built cars for the middle-aged, the 1970 GSX Stage 1 will make you think again. This was the most powerful and rarest muscle car Buick ever produced. Just 678 units, only 12 more than the legendary Plymouth Hemi Cuda convertible, which also debuted that year. Unlike the wild Mopar color palette, Buick kept it bold but simple, offering the GSX in just two factory colors, satin yellow and Apollo white. Beneath that flashy paint was a beastly 455 cubic inch V8. With the Stage 1 package, it delivered 360 horsepower. But what truly stood out was the torque, a monstrous 510 pound-foot at low RPM. In the muscle car world, that's a serious threat. Buick also equipped the GSX with positraction, heavy-duty suspension, and a Muncie 4-speed manual. The result? A 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 5.5 seconds, enough to leave many rivals in the dust. Today, with its low production numbers, brutal performance, and quiet swagger, the Buick GSX Stage 1 is viewed as a hidden gem in the world of classic muscle cars. 1970, Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible. The Pontiac GTO Judge has always been a symbol of rebellious muscle, but if you're looking for the rarest and most powerful version, it has to be the 1970 GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible, with only 17 units ever produced. The Ram Air 4 engine wasn't for the faint of heart. Officially rated at 370 horsepower, its aggressive camshaft, high compression ratio, and fine-tuned intake system led experts to believe the real output was closer to 430 horsepower. Insane numbers for a street-legal convertible of that era. Paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual and optional performance gearing, the Ram Air 4 turned the Judge convertible into a true street brawler. But what made it legendary was the incredibly rare mix of top-tier performance and open-top luxury, something few buyers dared to combine in 1970. That's exactly why production numbers were so low. And today, each surviving example is a million-dollar gem in the classic car collector world. 1966, Oldsmobile 442 W30. In 1966, if you wanted a car that was street-legal but capable of lighting up the rear tires at a drag strip, Oldsmobile had your answer, the 442 W30. But don't mistake this for your average 442. Only 360 were made. 54 units of the W30 were ever produced that year. The W30 was a subtle but brutally effective upgrade, built specifically for serious racers who wanted an edge while staying within the rules. Its 400 cubic inch V8 came with a highly unique ram air system, not through the hood, but through the front bumper, channeling cold air straight into the carburetor. Inside, it still looked like a classy Oldsmobile. Underneath, though, it was a race-bred machine. The W30 featured heavy-duty springs, a manual-tuned ignition system, and an exclusive free-flowing exhaust setup. All 54 cars were hand-assembled to order, mostly sent to dealerships that knew what to do with them. Their quiet arrival and extreme rarity made them underground legends in the muscle car world. Today, spotting an original W30 is like stumbling upon a hidden chapter of America's drag racing history. 1969, Dodge Charger Daytona. There's a car that once made NASCAR change its own rules. Sounds unbelievable? That's exactly what the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona achieved. This wasn't a muscle car built to look cool. It was created to win at all costs. And to make it legal for racing, Dodge built just 503 street-legal units. The most shocking part of the Daytona was its outrageous aerodynamic design. A stretched, missile-like nose cone, and a rear wing that stood taller than the car's roofline. But every detail, had one purpose: to conquer speed on the oval track. Under the hood, buyers could choose between the 440 Magnum V8 or the ultimate beast, the 426 Hemi 5.8. Officially rated at 425 horsepower, the Daytona could reach speeds over 200 miles per hour, making it the first NASCAR vehicle to ever break that barrier. However, its extreme looks divided public opinion. It was just too wild for the average street buyer. Commercially, it flopped, but among speed freaks, it became a legend that never died. 1970 to 71. Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. There are cars you hear about in stories, but almost never see in real life. The Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible is one of them. A legend wrapped in the fog of time, with just 21 units ever built between 1970 and 1971. To hardcore collectors, this name represents the absolute peak of classic muscle cars. Under the hood lies the 426 cubic inch Hemi 5.8, rated at 425 horsepower on paper, but in reality, it was far more dangerous. This wasn't made for sunny day cruising. It was built to obliterate quarter miles. Yet the convertible version was a paradox: stunning, open air, but impractical. It added weight, reduced structural rigidity, and cost significantly more. That's why so few dared to order one. But that very rarity turned it into a black diamond among vintage machines. Today, if you ever see an original Hemi Cuda convertible, you're not just looking at a car. You're witnessing a supernatural event in the American muscle car universe. 1969. Pontiac Trans Am Air 4. Not all Trans Ams were created equal. There's one version few have ever seen, yet it sends Pontiac enthusiasts into awe whenever it appears. The 1969 Trans Am Air 4, with only 55 units ever built. At first glance, it looks like a typical early Trans Am: blue stripes, ducktail spoiler, twin scoop hood, but beneath that familiar shell lies one of the fiercest engines Pontiac ever offered for the street. The 400 cubic inch Ram Air 4 V8, with an aggressive camshaft, high compression, and performance-tuned heads. It was rated at 370 horsepower, but insiders know it made much more. Most of these cars were ordered with a Muncie 4-speed manual, a performance rear axle, and no AC, because extra weight was the enemy. And that's exactly why only 55 were sold. Too hardcore, too focused, too few buyers willing to take the plunge. Today, the 1969 Ram Air 4 Trans Am is considered the holy grail of its lineage. 1964. Ford Thunderbolt. Built by Ford as a street-legal drag racing weapon, the Thunderbolt hid beneath the humble shell of a Fairlane. Only 100 units were ever produced, and while it came with a license plate, this car was never meant for your daily commute. Under the hood was a 427 cubic inch high-riser V8, fed by dual Holley carburetors and force-fed through a massive aluminum intake manifold. Rated at 425 horsepower. That was the polite number. In reality, the Thunderbolt could run the quarter mile in under 11 seconds, outrunning just about everything in the superstock class. Weight saving was taken to the extreme. Plexiglass side windows, fiberglass hood and fenders, no insulation, no creature comforts. Everything was stripped away. It was the only production Ford at the time with a factory warning, not intended for normal use. The Thunderbolt wasn't built to last. It existed for a few short months, just long enough for Ford to dominate the 1964 NHRA Superstock season with unrelenting force. 1970. Chevel SS 454 LS6 Convertible. Did you know? The entire Chevel lineup underwent a major redesign in 1968, but Chevrolet continued refining its styling into the early 1970s. By 1970, the Chevel SS convertible retained much of the 1969 design, with subtle updates like a split horizontal grille, body-colored headlamp bezels, reshaped fin-style taillights, and slightly bulkier rear fenders. The SS stood out with bold performance stripes across the hood and trunk, along with an optional ZL2 cowl induction hood, featuring a vacuum-controlled flap that funneled cool air directly into the carburetor. Inside, the car featured full vinyl trim with 8 available colors. A front bench seat came standard, but strato bucket seats could be ordered for a sportier feel. What made this car legendary was its heart, the LS6 454 cubic inch V8, rated at 450 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque. It was a monster. When paired with a Muncie 4-speed manual and performance rear axle, this nearly 2-ton beast could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds, a mind-blowing figure for a factory-built classic. And the convertible version? Only 18 units were ever produced. A drag car disguised as a luxury cruiser. Very few dared to order one back then, but today, each surviving example is a $1 million monument at high-end collector auctions. We've just wrapped up a journey through time, from street-legal drag cars disguised as humble sedans to elegant convertibles hiding monstrous power beneath the surface. 10 legendary names, each produced in fewer than 1,000 units, some just a few dozen. But their true value isn't just in rarity, it lies in the stories they carry, of a hunger to dominate the track, of a rebellious spirit that challenged the rules, and of a golden age when mechanical muscle was king. So, if you could pick just one of these 10 legends to keep forever, which one would you choose, and why? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your pick. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you won't miss future journeys with these one-of-a-kind machines. And who knows, maybe the car of your dreams is still waiting to be brought back to life. See you in the next ride.